Now, to begin, as I mentioned, the piece begins with a strumming section, and the useful tips to know about strumming, well, the first one is don't get your fingers too heavy as you're doing them, because then what happens is the strumming gets very unclear. So, and instead of that, you actually have to think of your fingers being very light, have a lot of flexibility in the joints, and also don't aim to hit the strings too deep. Basically stay on the surface. And the other thing that you need to think about is stay aiming for the first string. So don't try to, even if you see, as you will see on the page, that the strumming is indicated for all 5 strings of the guitar here constantly, you don't actually need to do that. What you need to do is aim for the first string first and foremost. So something like that is quite effective. So don't forget these 3 things. Number 1, keep your fingers loose. Second, don't muscle your way through the strings. And 3, aim for the first string because you're trying to provide rhythm. Okay, so there is usually, by the way, if you've never taken any lessons on how to strum, the standard thing that they will tell you is that you need to flick your fingers. And you have 2 ways to do it. The first way one of the ways that they teach you is by loading your finger against your thumb, like that. And then you basically use that as a way to create friction that then you can release and flick. So the standard practice for that would be to do something like this. You take your finger, load it up, and then let it go, and then figure out where you need to position yourself to get the sound, the fours that you want, and etc., etc. And then you try that with every finger, and then you start working out combinations. The Turina begins like this with this sort of idea. So, of course, that's a more advanced concept, being able to throw and flick several fingers. Now, the other way to load up the finger is by using the fleshy part of your thumb, and that's another way that's typically taught. So you can do that as well, and also practice it. Figure what works for you, and spend time comfortably working on it on your own. Now, like I said, I remember a method where flamenco player's method, where he basically said that in order to work out strumming, you basically need to spend about 5 minutes a day working on it. And he didn't say much more than that, other than what I've already told you. But he said that it's a kind of technique that's actually quite intuitive and empirical in nature, meaning you have to try it out. So as you try it out, you'll start to notice what works and what doesn't work in your own hand. And as that progresses, then your strumming will become better.